Hello, my friends, and how are you today? It's your boy, Kostas Kesidis, aka Shooter's Roll. What we're gonna do today is talk about shooting the basketball. It's not as easy as it looks. It's pretty hard for regular people to do. Heck, it's even hard for some pros to shoot. No two shots are gonna be exactly alike, but there are some common traits that all good shooters have. And that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna go through some basic fundamentals on how to shoot a basketball. Let's go. The first thing I wanna do is put things in the most simple perspective possible. What are we trying to do when we shoot the ball? Put this thing in there. So we're gonna look at a few details about the ball and the basket that might open our mind up to doing that in the best of ways. Let's talk about the basketball itself for a little bit. This is a regulation size 7 men's basketball. The basketball's diameter, which means if I were to put a rod from this side to that side, this distance right here is about 24 centimeters, which is about 9.45 inches. Now that varies a few millimeters from basketball to basketball, but that's close to where it is. Now, women's basketball or kids basketball are slightly smaller than this, but we're gonna go with the size of a regulation men's basketball. The weight of the ball is about 620 grams, give or take a few grams, which is pretty much 22 ounces. We're up here in a territory unbeknownst to me. The diameter of the rim from here to here is pretty much around 46 centimeters, which is about 18 inches, which means that you could pretty much fit 2 basketballs in here. Not exactly, but if you kind of squeeze them in, which means there's plenty of room for the ball to fit in here. Also, the distance from the rim down to the floor, in other words, its height, is 3.05 meters, in other words, 10 feet. So now that we have all the details about the ball itself and the basket, so let's try to think of a way where we can make every single shot. Now I want you to take your mind away from basketball for a second, use your imagination, and think of a way where the ball can leave your hands and go into the basket every single time. Small hint, you could use some help. Hey, what's up, coach? What's up, player? Oh, I got that, coach. That's easy. Layups. Nah, we've seen people miss layups. Oh, I got it. Dunks. Come on, player. Haven't you seen anybody miss a dunk? Okay, well, let me help you out a little bit. I'm starting to like it up here. So, the only way we can make every single shot is to take the ball, place it right on top of the rim, and just let it free fall. I want you to hang on to the fact that the ball is in a free fall, is in a straight line, which means that its direction is vertical to the floor. That information will come in handy in a second. So essentially, what we're trying to do is replicate that motion up there from down here every time we shoot. Now, we all know that's impossible. You always hear coaches and players talk about the arch. Have a high arc on your shot. That is the reason that we want a high arc. The higher the arc, the easier it is for the ball to fall in the rim. Also, you hear coaches and players talk about backspin. Why do we want the backspin? Now, the backspin helps 2 things. The first thing is that you want the downward rotation just in case the ball doesn't swish and touches a small part of the rim. You see, with the backwards motion, the rim kind of sucks the ball in. The second thing is friction. If you're familiar with physics, you know that we have friction in the atmosphere. So while the ball is traveling to the basket, If it has a downward spiral, then it kind of travels from its arch a little bit easier towards the rim. To give you an example of that, anybody that watches football, well, soccer, European football, what have you, if a player kicks the ball and bends it, the ball is actually spinning in the air and takes a curve, even with no wind. That's why we want to give the downward spiral to the ball so it will fall a little bit more clearly and cleanly in the basket. So theoretically, the best way to shoot a basketball could possibly be that old school underhand NBA free throw. But under the circumstances of a game, that wouldn't be too efficient. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty and start building up our jump shot from step 0. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the basic fundamentals on how to set up your body, how to hold the ball, and how to release your shot. The camera is underneath the basket, so I am actually facing the rim right now, just for your reference. Okay, now let's start from the waist down. You hear a lot of coaches say shooting is all legs, shooting is all legs. Well, what does that mean? What that means is that your legs will provide you with the proper balance and they will give the ball the force it needs to travel to the basket. So, how do we set up our legs? The first thing we want to do is open up our legs pretty much to the length of our shoulders. The other thing we want to do is place the leg on our shooting hand side. So I'm a right-handed shooter. My right leg is going to be just a little bit further than my left. How much? You figure it out according to your own comfort. Also, what I want to do is bend my knees, but I want to send my waist backwards. I don't want to bend my knees forward, kind of like I'm sitting on a chair. Now, why do we want to do this? Again, to establish balance and to establish force that we're going to transfer to the ball so it can travel to the basket. So from the waist down, that's pretty much it. Just be careful. The further forward your knees fall and you stand on your tiptoes, you'll actually feel that the balance is not really there and you're going to stress your knees and your back. And also, don't forget to keep your chest up high so you can look at the basket and aim. We'll get to that in a second. And always remember, the best case scenario is for your toes to be pointing to the rim no matter which position you hold on the court. Why is that? Because your body exerts energy towards the direction that your toes point at. And that energy is going to be transferred to the ball, and we want the ball to travel towards the basket. So you want your toes to be pointing towards the target at the same time. All right, now another question is, how do I actually hold the ball? And there's a lot of talk on if we use our fingers, if we use our palm, if we do a combination of both. Let me clear that up for you. Try to put your palm, strictly your palm, on top of a basketball and hold it. Pretty much impossible, unless you use super glue. Now, if you have hands as big as mine or a little bigger, put the tips of your finger around the ball, and without even squeezing that hard, whoa, you could actually hold the basketball. So that, my friends, is the difference between trying to control the ball with your palm and your fingers. With your palm, you pretty much have no control of the ball, and with your fingers, you have full control of the ball. Now, since you want to aim towards the basket and send the ball towards the direction of your choice, I believe that the best way to control the ball is with your fingers. Now, some people say that it's all right to have a combination of your palm and your fingers on the ball. Okay, but I believe that the least palm you have on the ball, the more control you have of it with your fingers, and that's the best choice right now. So what you want to do is spread your fingers on the ball comfortably as if you were to hold it. Bend your elbow to a 90-degree angle, and your offhand should be right on the side of the ball. Where exactly? In a position where when you release the ball, it's not going to block its path towards the basket, and also in a position where it can help you the ball lift up to a certain point. So that's how you really want to hold the ball right before you take your shot. Now, there's a lot of talk about, coach, which finger shoots the ball last, or how should I put my fingers on top of the ball? Well, there's an answer to that too. Now let's take the air valve of the basketball, and let's say that that's the center of the ball. You pretty much want to have your hand half and half on the ball. Now for some people that means having the index finger directly on the air valve and facing the basket. Now for myself, for my hand size, it's more efficient to keep the air valve somewhere in between my index and middle finger. So I have my hand evenly spread on the ball. I have my offhand on the side. Both are using strictly fingers. My legs are, as we said before, my elbow is tucked right by my ribs comfortably. No stress. But always remember, have your chest up so you can have your eyes glued to the basket and you can aim at the rim. There's another question. Where do we aim? Ooh, coach, I know. Me. Go ahead, player. You aim in the front of the rim. You aim in the back of the rim. You aim on the square on the backboard. Got it this time, coach. You aim at the net. I think I got it for real this time, coach. You must aim right in the middle of the rim. Bingo! So there's that. You lock your eyes dead smack in the middle of the rim as if there was an imaginary dot in the middle of that circle. That's the only position you can aim from anywhere on the floor, and if you accomplish your goal, the ball will go in. The only exception is shooting off the backboard, but that's a different story for another time. We'll get into that. So let's recap. My toes are pointing towards the basket. My feet are wide like my shoulders. I have my waist low and behind, knees bent, chest up, hands on the ball as we said before, and I'm aiming at the rim. How do I execute my shot? Okay, so you want to be one harmonic fluid motion. I want to lift my legs, lift my body, and lift my arms all at the same time and follow through at the end. In slow motion, I want to bring the ball straight up and out. My offhand stops right when it reaches my forehead. My knees aren't totally done extending. And I finish my shot with a follow through by extending my elbow and bend my wrist all the way. Now, what does that do for us? The elbow helps the distance and the arch of the ball, and bending my wrist helps the ball get as much rotation as possible. That way, my friends, we have the best possible chances of making our shot.
Okay, so let's put this puzzle together and look at the timing and the rhythm of our shot. Our whole body moves and completes the shot in one fluid, synchronized motion. We begin to lift the ball and our knees at the same time. The ball comes up to our forehead quickly and in a straight line. No left or right motion with the ball while it's coming up. Once the ball reaches our forehead, we begin our follow through towards the basket while we're still pushing up with our legs and strictly with our shooting hand. The offhand stops supporting the ball when it reaches our forehead. We complete our release as our body is still moving upward in order to gain all the force from our legs. Our follow through is complete and clean, which means we extend our elbow and bend our wrist all the way. As we finish the motion, you want to jump straight up, not back and forth or side to side. We want our feet to land pretty much where they started, and we want to hold our follow through. We want to hold the gooseneck, as we say, until we see the result of our shot, which of course we want to be a swish every time. If we accomplish all this in one fluid, clean motion, my friends, we have the best chances of making our shot. Swish.
Now, 2 tips that I want to give you. The first one is from the waist up, keep your body relaxed. You don't really want to be tight and squeezing your shoulder muscles or your back muscles or trying to hold on to the ball tight. You got to be relaxed from the body up. You got to let the ball flow naturally from your hand. But what you do want to do is squeeze from the waist down, your thighs, your buttocks, and your core, because that's where you're going to get your power from. Now, the final tip that I want to give you as far as all of this goes is breathing. Nobody ever talks about this. Now, I want you to think of yourself doing push-ups or pull-ups or some type of workout. When do you exhale? You exhale when your body is in stress, because by exhaling, you give your whole muscle system a surge of energy. So you want to exhale while you're going through that whole motion. Confidence is something that we didn't talk about yet. Now, my opinion is that confidence comes with technique and ability. So the more you work on your skills and the more quality work you put in, the more confident you get. So don't forget to stay in the gym, practice your shot all the time, practice your game the whole time. Matter of fact, whatever you do in life, make sure you do enough to be proficient at it, and with that comes more confidence. So there you have it, my friends. Those are the basic points of shooting a basketball. Now, clearly, I understand that these are not game situations. You can work on these things while you're practicing your form, and obviously there are uncountable situations where you differentiate your shot, but as far as the core and the fundamental setup of your body when you shoot the basketball, these, in my opinion, are the most important points. And it's not just a matter of opinion. Shooting a basketball is pretty much physics and geometry. And with everything we've said so far, you give yourself, again, the best chances of making a shot when you take it. I just want y'all to know that I really love all of this, so I'd be happy to keep you with me. I hope all this has been extremely helpful for you. It's been a pleasure. Hope to see you soon again. It's your boy. I'm out.